Oh, hold up, my road dogs. Here we are talking about budgeting, doing a little financial literacy kind of towards the end of the year. But yeah, anyway, so the idea is that today we're going to work on a monthly budget. Some of you will be working on this in class, but as other people need to finish already and maybe set that Pythagorean theorem test, I figured I'd film a video so that you guys could kind of just do this on your own. So I don't know. The idea, the job that I kind of think of would be like Home Depot, right, or Lowe's or whatever, right. So if you just kind of like work at kind of the basic job, Home Depot entry level, probably sales associate is what it's called, right? Okay. Um, so what I did here is I kind of took a look at the salary range for that, and so Home Depot in Denver pays 13.46 per hour for equipment service technician. I don't know. It doesn't talk about sales associates. So let's go with that because that's more likely your job. Although the minimum wage in Denver is like $14, so I don't know where that like is coming from. But let's go with this, right? So this is Glassdoor. No, this isn't Glassdoor. This is the street. Never heard of this one. Anyway, so basically just something like this. Starting pay ranges for customer service and sales associate. No, Glassdoor, right? Does say that. So it says $18 an hour with an estimated range of 16 to 20. So let's go with $18 an hour right here. Okay. So we'll say $18 per hour. If I can highlight that, there you go. Okay. So that's what we're going to put right here. So $18 per hour. Okay. So now for a monthly paycheck, right? Um, if you work 40 hours a week to figure out your weekly paycheck, you take 40 times 18. But since we're doing a monthly paycheck, we're doing 18 times 160 because that's 4 weeks a month, right? Now, typically you get paid every 2 weeks. That's generally how everything works. However, we're just going to look at the total monthly that you would get, right, out of those two monthly paychecks, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that $18 per hour and I'm going to multiply by 160, right? So that's how much money your monthly paycheck is, 2,880 bucks. Okay. All right. Now, an easy way to figure out your yearly salary, like you could take that and multiply it by 12. That's one way to do it. Just take that 2880, multiply by 12, and see how my kind of rough estimate works here. So 34,560, okay, per year. Um, or the other way to do it is to take your hourly rate and double it and then add three zeros, right? So take that hourly rate of 18, you double it to get to 36, right? 18 times 2 is 36, and you add three zeros. So 36,000, pretty good, pretty close, right? 36,000 versus 34,560. Let's go with that 36,000 because it's a nice rounder number for your yearly salary. We're not going to do any calculations with this 36,000, but that's just to give you an idea of this $18, how much you would make per year with that. We're only going to break it down per month on this, and we're going to talk about that monthly budget. Okay, so um, when we start talking about your budget, typically how it works is you have two kind of columns right here, right? Credit is in green. Credit means that's what you get. So money coming in, paychecks typically is the big one right there. And then debit is money going out, expenses, right? So these are all your bills and anything you spend money on, basically. And so what we're going to do is we're going to keep a running total here, right? So we're talking about monthly budgeting. We're going to take that 2880 and we're going to put it right here. Oh, sorry. Uh, put the dollars here, 2880 right there, and this is your paycheck. And we'll say monthly, right? Because typically when you say paycheck, it's like once every 2 weeks, but since we're looking at the monthly, so we got to say that. Okay, so paycheck monthly. Now, the first thing that comes out is taxes. Okay, and so let's figure out how much taxes we're going to be paying on this. So all I did, what did I look up here? I looked up for this. Oh, come on, come on. I think I looked up like monthly paycheck calculator or something like that. Anyway, so where are we here? Paycheck calculator. Oh, here we are. I've already put this in here, right? So we got $18 an hour, and then hours per pay period would be 80, right? But remember, that's only 2 weeks, right? So your estimated semi-monthly take-home pay. When it says semi-monthly, that means that's twice a month, right? So that would be that 1197 per, right? So let's just like say you get one paycheck a month, and so there's 100 for it, right? Please note this is more than the standard work hours in this time period. Yeah, okay. So your semi-estimated monthly take-home pay is $22.46, right? So let's figure out how much taxes are, right? So we got that the $22.46 is going to be the total. Let me see how I want to do this here. Nope, that's not what I want. There we go. So the total at this point is going to be $22.46 after your taxes. 46. Okay. So how you figure that out? We'll just take that 28.80 and we'll subtract that to see what the total is, right? Because the total at the top is that 28.80, right? And you'll see kind of as it goes down, right? So taxes are kind of your first kind of big expense in the month. So we'll take that 28.80 minus 22.46. So that's $634 for taxes going out. Okay, so 28.80 minus 634 gets to that 22.46. Okay, so now we've got our budget for the month. Let's talk about. They'll probably also take insurance out. So let's talk about insurance, right? Let's just take that out right at the gate. So I don't know. Depends. I don't really know Home Depot's policy with health insurance. But let's say you're paying $100 a month. Okay, so that gets down to 21.46. Now you might be like, I don't need health insurance. I'm young. If you don't have health insurance, when it comes time to pay taxes, you get fined. So it's kind of an incentive to have health insurance because you'll either pay the fine or you'll pay for health insurance, and health insurance can actually be useful when you get hurt. So you generally want health insurance, and let's call this health insurance because there are a few different kinds of insurance you can get. So we take that, so 22.46 becomes 21.46. Now, big living expenses, right? Mortgage, not a mortgage because you probably don't own a house at this point, right? So let's talk about apartments, right? So apartments in Denver, apartment cost, Aurora, Colorado. Okay. Aurora apartments under 1,000. That's good. Okay. So a lot of different options here, and it goes from 1 to 3 beds. That just means 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, or 3 bedroom. Studio means kind of all one room. Let's kind of just scroll down this list right here. And this is just apartments.com, kind of the first link right there. $1,685 per month, $1,695 per month, $1,530 for a studio, $1,455, $1,287. There we go. That might be getting into a range we want to talk about. Let's take a look at this place. Yeah, it looks good. It's got a pool. It's got an exercise room. That's one of the kitchens. Yeah, it looks nice. Of course, they're going to put nice photos on here, right, to entice you to rent. Monthly rent $1,287 for a 1 bedroom. Well, that's not too bad. Let's just go with that. Let's just go $1,287. Let's round that up to $1,300 because there's generally some fees associated with that. So we'll say rent for a 1 bedroom because you're not seeing that I'm writing this down. Rent for a 1 bedroom. What did I say? 1,300. Let's say you don't want to live with a roommate, right? You could get a 2 bedroom, which would be more expensive, but you would be splitting it with a roommate. So yeah, if that is something that you would like to show on this kind of little simulation, that's totally fine. Your numbers will obviously be different than mine if that is what you do. Okay. And technically you could choose a different job, right? The idea with this is like, if you get a job right out of high school without going to college, this is kind of what it's going to look like. Okay. And so we've got this 21.46 minus 1,300 because that's another one. That's another expense. 21.36 minus 1,300. Ouch. 21.46. My bad. Gives you 8.46 left after you take away rent. Oh man, that's big. It's a big expense right there. And then, you got a lot of other expenses. You got like transportation, right? If you want a car, you're going to have to pay for the car. You're going to have to pay for health insurance. You're going to have to pay for gas. You have to pay for food. You'll have to pay for utilities like electricity and water. Oh, actually, let's do that. Okay. So utilities. This is kind of a blanket term that can be anything like electricity, water costs, trash, right? Sometimes what they'll do is they will fold these expenses into the rent. So they will fool you into thinking like, oh, all utilities are included. But what they'll do is they will just increase the price of the rent for that, right? So it's just be aware that they're not really actually saving you any money. But let's say you pay it separately, and let's pay this. Let's say this is $100. Okay. So now we subtract that 100. We're at 746 after utilities. Um, if you want to get like cable or internet, right? I don't know. That depends on what you get, right? That can be anywhere from 50 to 150. Let's go low. Let's say you don't get. Sometimes they'll have free Wi-Fi, right? But again, they'll just increase the rent, right? But let's say you're paying for your own, so that gets us to 746 minus 50 gets us to what 696, right there. Okay, so you've got a place to live, you've got health insurance, you've got a job, you've got electricity, and you've got internet. That's good. It's good. Okay. We also definitely need food, right? So if you tend to cook at home, right, that's going to be it's definitely going to be a lot cheaper than if you tend to go out a lot, right? So let's actually do food right here. Let's say you cook a decent amount, so you spend. I probably spend anywhere from $500 to $600 on groceries a month because there's a family of four. Well, actually, shoot, well, with Costco, that might actually go up to like 800 or 900. But anyway, if you are living alone and you're trying to do it cheaply, you can probably get out with 250, 300. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm not really sure what you guys can cook or eat or want to eat. So let's say 200. So that's 496 right there. Okay. You could adjust that if you wanted to, obviously, right? If you were just like, I'm just going to eat pasta or I'm going to eat just rice and beans for the whole month, right? Those are like, or ramen, right? Very cheap meals you can get away with a lot cheaper bill right there. Um, this could also, well, so we're 496. We're getting down to it here because we still got to get to our job, right? So if you want to just bike or take the bus, that's going to be a minimal cost, right? A bus pass. Home Depot might even pay for a bus pass for you. But if you want to bike or walk, if you live close to it, like you can get away a lot of times with low transportation fees like that. But let's say you want a car, right? Well, man, that car is going to really eat that up. Let's say you get a car. So you get a loan and you have your car payment. Okay, now I pay about $350 for my car payment. Um, but with insurance and gas, that's going to basically just like take that whole rest of that out, right? So let's say you can get a cheap car. Let's say you get a cheap car for 250. Okay, so we got this 496 minus 250. That's going to give us 246 left. Okay, so car insurance. Now, this is where it gets a little, I don't know, irritating to you in particular, the boys in particular, because car insurance is more expensive for teenage boys because prefrontal cortex is not fully developed, so they tend to make bad decisions. But let's say you're able to get car insurance for $150 a month. So that's going to bring us down to, what is that, 246 minus 150 is $96. Okay. And the red just means that I'm subtracting it, right? If we had another source of income, we would be adding it, right? That's why it's in green versus red. Now, you also need gas, right? Let's say you live close to Home Depot and you can get away with $50 of gas a month, which is a crazy low amount of gas. You're left for everything else: entertainment, savings, and then close, right? This has to be split between that $46, right? Now, if you have streaming services, right, you can, like, Netflix is what, $15? So right there, right, you can get away with $15 right there. If you have a gaming system, that's good entertainment. You probably already paid for that, so you don't have to worry about it. You've probably got some games. Game Pass isn't too expensive, like on Xbox. But just realize that, like, your money goes real quick, right? So at this point, I don't even know if it's worth it trying to figure out how to split that $46 in between those. Um, but if you want another sheet to kind of calculate out expenses with a different job, perhaps you can look up the hourly rate that you would get paid for those jobs. But yeah, that's just a quick run through of a budget. Sorry, my voice is gone. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that.